Now?
Now.
Noon?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Emmanuel Williams. Welcome to everybody. We are hoping that this will be the first in a series of poets reading their poetry on Zoom, roughly at this time, on this day. And I think now there are about 15 poets on the list, including some who are here today listening. So thank you. This will last about 20 minutes and I'm going to start. Back in the rock band called the Electric Robin. And this is a song from that period. It's called Millions of Ways. It was sung by me and a young lady who was harmonics. And then there was somebody playing acoustic guitar. I will do it solo. So you'll have to imagine the rest of it. It's called Millions of Ways. Yes, he loved all the cows and the milkmaids, and he bared himself to the stream, and he wrestled and laughed with the mermaids till they sank out of sight like a dream. As the sun rose high that morning, so his mind began to burn. There are millions of ways of loving, and you always get time to learn. Yes, he'd loved all the trees in the forest, and he'd flown with the birds in the sky, and he danced with a coachload of tourists till they sank out of sight with a sigh. As the sun rose high that morning, so his heart began to burn. There are millions of ways of loving, and you always get time to learn. Yes, he'd loved all the brides and the brownies, and he'd peered through the eye of the storm. And he knows where the cross and the crown is, but the blood never flows from the thorn. As the sun rose high that morning, so his guts began to burn. There are millions of ways of loving, and you always get time to learn. Yes, he'd loved all the swords and the plowshares, and he'd bared himself to the sky, and he wrestled all day with a nightmare till it sank out of sight like a lie. As the sun rose high that morning, so his soul began to burn. There are millions of ways of loving, and you always get time to learn. Oh, love that song. Now, the next one is from a show that we did in Brighton some years ago. And we did a show called The Enemy Under the Blanket, Lucienne Lassalle and myself and others. And she wanted me to write monologues and dialogues on the theme of romantic love. And this is the book, Enemy Under the Blanket, available on Amazon. And this is one called The Coat. This is dedicated to and about my relationship, my marriage with Amelia. God bless her. The Coat. I came back one night from a walk. It was one of those nights when you go out and it's like the world's gone crazy. This big, mad wind roaring and blustering around all over the place. not cold, just mad. Parked cars rocking like shiny beasts stirring in their sleep, and bits of paper and leaves skipping down the street and joining together in a spinning dance, and the trees swaying and creaking and roaring like the sea, tossing their shadows about in the light of street lamps. I came back all glowy and tingling with this wide, mad laughter inside me. I felt all rinsed, all clean and light, as though the wind had blown the dust out of me, blown away all the folds and knots in my heart. I took my coat off and hung it in the hall, and there was your old black duffel coat next to it. And it suddenly seemed strange that your coat was hanging there next to mine on the hooks in the hall in our home. Such a strange and wonderful thing that we'd met and fallen in love and got married, as though our orbits had converged and fused in the enormous universe of random events. And I thought of all the years you'd lived before we met, growing up in your parents' home, experiencing cats and flowers and snow, having your first period, wondering who you were, having friends I never knew, lovers I never met. And all the changes you went through, all the memories inside you I'll never share. And here's your coat, here in this house you live in with me. All those years of not even knowing that I existed. And here you are in this house that is our home, all the things that are our things, and the kid who is our kid crawled out of your body into our hearts, our daughter sleeping in a room in the house that is our home. I stood there in the hall, nuzzling your coat, smelling your smells in its thick softness, and I started crying in a way that was deeper than sadness or joy. I snuggled your coat against my face, and I knew it and felt it and said it. I love you. Pause for a quick drink. This is, next poem is called Song forEDA. There's a lady watching called Hannah. As I mentioned before, she's an artist and a gardener, and she did this picture. She did a whole bunch of pictures, doodles, sitting in a series of angry meetings. She just pulled pieces of paper to her and did doodles. She showed them to me. I don't know if you can see this clearly, and I loved them, and I started writing poems about some of these doodles. And in the end, we finished with a book, also on Amazon, called Spotted Flycatcher. So here we are. Yesterday's flycatcher. Sorry, here's the picture again, and here's the poem called
higher. A little
I
bit.
wrote about it. Here we go. The order of things, the order of limits and structures. This is the world that was made by the Maker, where minds are the offspring of mind, where all has its place and its pattern. This is the world we fashion, talking the angels down to our runways, pixeling visions to data tucked into chips. And here comes the Lady of Anarchy, warbling blossoms, gurgling rainbows, weaving together roses and golden and innocence. Here comes the whirligig lady, lavish in laughter and heart, nudging the world in its bony ribs and making it dance, making it spin through the sky like a yo-yo escaping its string. You are a bird in a violet tree, a circle of pain in your eye, a song in your throat that is lovely and mad. Such is the world that was made by the Maker. Okay. Recently, Andrew, there he is down there, and I have been working on a book of my poems about the sea. This, I think, we have done, I think it's 13 drafts of this. Things kept going wrong, but we finally did it. It's called White Noise, and it's poems about the sea. And this again is on Amazon. So this is one called Abalone. And if you don't know what an abalone is, it's a beautiful big shell with an extraordinary blends of color on its inner side. Abalone. I find it sunk in damp sand, knock its humped pink brown back against my thigh, bring it here where small waves ripple between rocks. I dip it in the cold tide, move it back and forth, watch sand grains twinkle in the limpid flow, delicately pelting periwinkles. I lift the shell and wonder at the colors in the sunlit sheen. Such pink, such blue, such green and mauve, brightened by the salty splash, such clean, clear, iridescent beauty.
Is that you up there?
Yeah.
I want my looking to be as clear as this, clear as these bright droplets trickling from sea-washed rocks, clear as colors glowing in this satin hollow. I want my seeing to be rinsed of all the dirt, of all the layers that darken it, the sex stuff, kill stuff, see, want, buy stuff. I kneel and bathe my eyes in sparkling sea. May I be allowed to witness glory wherever it may be. This is a poem, and sometimes poems come out and they just have their own laws, their own gestalt. This is a poem called The Man in the Black Suit, which is based on a way that I used to talk to my cats about 10 years ago. And I'm just going to read it. I have no idea what it means. I just like it. The Man in the Black Suit. I know all about your secret messages, said the Man in the Black Suit. And I know all about your high jumps and your internal combustions and your fly-by-nighters and your 57 famous ways of saying yes. No point in thinking you can get away with that kind of folderol, not while I'm in the neighborhood, sonny boy blue. Actually, I said, my name's not, and, said the Man in the Black Suit, I know all about your yellow nicknames and about your lullaby for dead chimney pots. Oh yes, don't you worry about that. And all the silver steeples you've been chasing, down among the parrot sticks in Dead Man's Holy Gulch. You and your white Polaroids. You and your bagpipe trousers. You and your tubes. Oh, yes, I've had my eye on you for some time now, Mr. Legs in Licorice. Actually, I said, my name's not. Don't interrupt, he said. Have an almond. I love that poem. Okay, we're doing very well. Thank you for hanging in there. This is a poem from a book called Someone, which has just dropped down there. Oh, yes, there it is. Ugh. Another Amazon book called Someone. There it is. Someone. And this one is called Tug of War. I think somebody here, I think Stefan, read this a while ago on some of the creatives and said he liked it. Tug of War. Here is a rope, a long rope, a long, strong rope. One of you is at this end, the other is at that end. When I say go, you tug as hard as you can. You tug so hard that your teeth jump out and run away. You tug so hard that your eyeballs turn back to front and see nothing but memories. You tug so hard that your feet dig into the earth and split thick rocks and oil shoots into the sky. You tug so hard that mountains crumble and the oceans empty into deep, huge holes and smother the fires at the center of the earth, and the sky behind the sky turns bright orange and hides in a cave on the far side of the universe. You tug so hard that your arms turn into rope. You go on tugging harder and harder and harder until at precisely the same moment you both let go. And I have one more poem, and this is my most recent poem, and it's called Prayer. Mostly, we believe we can put it all back together again, although we may not agree about how this is to be done, since different groups have different visions or beliefs. But mostly, we are sure that we can make it work. We have minds, we have experience, we know what's going on, we know what to do. And since there is no underlying sense of purpose we all accept or share, it will be necessary to undergo a power struggle, giving winners the authority to impose their vision, guided by the values they adhere to, be those low or high. But maybe there's a missing element in all this. Maybe there's another source of guidance, one that's deeper than policy or ideology or manifesto or any product of intellect or research. Maybe if we stop thinking for a while, stop agreeing, disagreeing, supporting or attacking, staying up to date with all that's going on, maybe if we enter into the solitude imposed upon so many of us and find or make the space to pray that we may all be guided by the grace of Almighty God alive within each one of us. Then a brighter, better human future will emerge, one that most of us will joyfully embrace. This is my belief. This is my prayer. God bless you all. The end. Whew. Oh, I enjoyed that. I hope you did.
Bravo.
Anything to say, Rosita?
You can switch on your microphones.
Now you can talk.
It was wonderful. It was
Bravo.
great.
Oh, hello,
Thank you very
Ralph.
much. Wow.
Hi, Ralph.
Oh.
Hi.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you. Dankeschön.